Hey, everybody, this is Joe Joseph, and this is the DailySheeple.com's news shot. CounterCurrentNews.com has a piece that this is one of those things that is a push-button issue for me. And I don't know how it ever came about or why. Well, yes, I do. And I'll get into that in a minute, but it just seems to me that the government will stop at nothing to keep us under their thumb. And this is just one of the ways they do it. Listen to this. DEA just admitted to selling drugs on the street and that youth informants are forced to help. They're perpetuating this baloney, the DEA. Listen to this. The war on drugs carried out by the DEA continues unabated since its establishment in the 1970s during the Nixon era, which, by the way, the Controlled Substances Act is completely illegal, number one. Number two, it was put into place for nefarious reasons. And I can get into that in a future news update, where the whole reason why it came about was to vilify those most vocal or opposed to the president's policy. And at that time, it was Nixon. And we all know Nixon was a loon ball. But he was, through no evidence at all, had Congress ramrodded this Controlled Substances Act through Congress. By the way, did you know that the Controlled Substances Act actually considers us animals as animals? We are animals in the eyes of the law to the government. Should get a lot of people pissed off, but it also violates your rights because, you know, if you're a Bible believer like me, God gave us dominion over all the animals of the earth. That law doesn't apply to us, folks. If you believe that you have dominion over all the animals of the earth, we're not animals. But this just goes to show you more of the deception that's out there. It says, for years, countless arrests have occurred, many of them victimless crimes involving what? Cannabis. Large sentences are dealt, some carrying hefty jail time. Only this week, Canada unveiled their legislation to fully legalize cannabis. Acknowledging the war on drugs is fruitless. Listen to this. It says, we know that criminal prohibition has failed. This is former police chief turned MP, Bill Blair. He said legalization seeks to regulate and restrict access to cannabis and will make Canada safer. But of course, this isn't what this is about. Blair summed up what is pertinent to the war on drugs across every nation. And that is that it has failed. The hypocrisy that the DEA, that is the DEA's refusal to acknowledge the medicinal benefit of cannabis can't go unnoted. Why? Because the Department of Health and Human Services owns a patent on medical marijuana. So here's the question that I have for you. How does one entity, that is the United States government, okay, the corporation of the United States, it's one corporation. Now within that corporation, of course, you have different departments. Doesn't matter that it's different departments, it's one corporation. And that's the United States. How does one corporation, or how can one corporation have multiple standpoints on something like cannabis? All this does is show you exactly what the war on drugs is all about. It's not about the evidence. It's not about personal choice or personal responsibility. No, it's about the money. It's about the power. It's about the control. They're shipping the drugs in, right? They're getting it on the streets, and then they're arresting those that they bought the drugs for to sell and putting them in prison. And then the DEA goes after chronic pain sufferers or people that require prescriptions and says that, oh, doctors have become just pill factories. No. There are millions of people that suffer needlessly in this country because of the DEA. Whether it be because they can't get adequate health care or adequate pain relief, or because they don't acknowledge the fact that even Pennsylvania's Governor Raymond Schaefer, who did the largest government study into marijuana, found out, oh, wow, yeah, we were wrong back in the 1970s, prior to the CSA. But nobody knows that. It's all a giant scam being perpetrated on us, folks. And they need the numbers to justify their budget at the next year. If they don't have their numbers, they don't get their money, and then they're in big trouble. And the DEA, let me tell you what, they're freewheeling and dealing all over the United States. They're creating and manufacturing their own criminals. And it's a perpetual cycle. And it needs to stop. I'm Joe Joseph. This was thedailysheeple.com's News Shot. Please comment below and subscribe to us over at thedailysheeple.com on our newsletter. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.